hop on in to the GNX. Listen to us. I'm Charlie.
And I'm Corey.
And this week we have a special guest with us, Jerry Konfor, returning before you discuss Coldplay with us. And now you're back to discuss Kendrick Lamar.
Yes, I'm back. Hi, guys.
Welcome back.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
we still need it. No, I'm glad to have you here because as a producer, I definitely think that's a valuable perspective to have when talking about Kendrick Lamar and this album, because we even said last week, Corey and I, there's some really neat production on this album, and there's a lot to get into.
Yes. It's a lot of good stuff in there. A lot of good stuff.
We're definitely going to talk about some production tonight because there's plenty to talk about there.
Yeah, a lot of good, man. It's just I'm just happy that we can take it. The world can finally see a quality artist that is not too poppy, right? Not too popular in the type of music he makes or whatever he wants to showcase, but also he has a lot of content, a lot of good, positive stuff to even dissect. It's a lyricist. It's crazy.
And put him right there on the Super Bowl for the
world,
grandest stage for the world.
Yep, for the world to see it.
Showcasing a lot of these new songs. Quite a few of them made their way in, which I thought was awesome. But I had a feeling that would be the case because it's the new album and it has a somewhat accessible sound, but still not. There's still a lot going on that I don't feel like you could complete. You can't just say this is a pop record, even though it has elements of that.
True. Of course, the tape. You have to look at the genesis and the reason of the tape, right? He's not been really. He's not an artist. Like, if I'm a fan of Kendrick, like a diehard fan, and the one thing that we complain is you don't give us enough music. Like, that's how dope you are. Now, you have this guy Drake that I'm a fan of too. That gives us enough music. Sometimes surplus. Whenever we ask, he gives it to us. And he's also good too. Now, what happens is this guy that gives us too much music, there's this other guy that, hey, I know you're not going to give this, because he's never done this. He's never. You can look at the discography and the way they release their music. He doesn't give out. He gives music, but he gives it in chunks. And it goes away. He doesn't crowd your ear. He doesn't go on everybody's single, feature. He does features when he wants to mess up the game. So he's always been on. He built that repertoire, right? Like, he built that repetition. So when you want to bring everything to the front, like, you have to go back and look at the genesis of all of this, why we lead to this album. And what the Drake fans were saying is, so you're going to release this tape or 3 or 4 songs for a beef, and you're going to stop someone that's been feeding the culture. What is the culture going to eat now? You're going to starve them? What are you going to do? Listen to cautious rap all day? We dare you. It's like, oh, really? You dare me? All right, I'll give it to you guys. Oops. There goes the tape. Oops, I'm performing in the Super Bowl. I have hits. He did a whole soundtrack of the Black Panther movie.
Yeah. He definitely.
Everybody wanted that song, that track. I wanted that track list.
Yeah. He definitely didn't leave us starving. I mean, this is the 6th album now. Yeah. So we finally get to eat again.
Mm-hmm. We do. And yes, this is the first album in the aftermath of the Drake feud that took place over the summer, which was really a dominant story throughout all of last year, but for a good variety of reasons, because you have these 2 heavyweight rappers who are huge for different reasons.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're beefing with each other and going back and forth. And obviously, I'm sure if you click the stream and listen to this, it's pretty obvious that just in the court of public opinion, Kendrick is the winner of the beef. He's reaping all the benefits of it. And
Of course.
That's part of what we're getting with this album here, right? It was a surprise album, which I don't believe he'd done before.
Yeah, so the beef really started. I don't know if you want to give the public a little reason why the beef started and everything, just a little bit of synopsis, but it started with just the body of the top, right? That was also we started, the pre-conversation about this podcast. And just to cut the long story short, J. Cole, yeah, I know you guys know J. Cole, an amazing rapper too. I'm surprised you guys didn't mention J. Cole in our
Is part of the
conversation.
story.
He's an amazing rapper. I love him. So J. Cole and Drake do a song. And the song, they have it where they're talking about the big three of rap. And they said the big three is them and Kendrick. And about the top two is between them. And in the video, it's the Spider-Man facing the Spider-Man. Right? It's like big three, one is there, and we two, we're trying to figure out who's one of the two. That video came out. Kendrick chilling. We're thinking it just, it's not as this. It's just a, bypass record. Kendrick released a feature saying, "Oh, I heard you guys saying there's a big three. Oh, it's not a big three. It's just big me." That's what he said, basically, in that record. And Drake went ahead and released the first diss song called Push Up, Bend Down and Give Me 50 or something like that. Push Ups.
Yeah, that was
and it was a banger. I loved it. Like, don't get me wrong, Drake makes amazing songs, right? It's a banger. But what caused it to go left was a lot of people thought Kendrick was going to bow out. So they started taunting and saying, "Oh, when is he going to respond? Oh, when is he going to respond?" It went like a couple of days too. Drake's team was even saying, "When is he going to respond?" He responded with this song. Drake responded. He responded in another song. Before Drake wanted to respond again, he got another song. And then he gave us the Not Like Us song. And it was over. Because now we are dancing to a Kendrick song. Oh, you don't want to do that. Drake, that's what we had with you as fans. We dance to your song. Oh, we can dance to this guy's song? And it's calling you a pedophile? But to the audience, you have to understand in this time of hip hop beef, it gets a little bit, out of hand. During the Biggie area and Tupac, you had a song starting with "I had sex with your wife." You this, right?
We were straightforward with it.
He was straightforward with it. You see, he loved that. So Kendrick on Drake's side, Drake said, the father of Kendrick's kid is his manager. So I don't want everybody to go and look at Kendrick like a very bad guy calling this guy a pedophile. Kendrick just was like, gloves off. You have my kids involved. I'm a father. His last album before all of this has him and his family on the cover.
Yeah.
Which you mentioned.
Yeah.
And when you come out a family man, you bet not miss, because he has nothing to lose. And he just gave us a dance song. That's really what he did. And the dance song was a weird song that he gave us. He gave us a dance West Coast hip hop song, and it was a diss track. So you had that, that feeling of, hit them up. You had he did a pop-out show during a Juneteenth.
Yeah.
He did a pop-out show in Juneteenth.
Everybody
after Drake did this track of, "Oh, you like to rap about like you got the slave free or something." You can't say that to an African American. It's just common sense. You can't say that to someone that their grandparents literally picked cotton. You can't say that.
Yeah.
You can't. Even if your grandparents did that too.
Yep, that's a surefire way to keep a beef going.
Thank you.
There's
you can't
no
say
way
that.
around that.
So the Not Like Us track literally says, "Hey man, you're a cultural vulture. You're from Canada. You go to Atlanta and bake all these mumble raps to get the way they talk. You talk like them. You wanna buy them Ferraris. You wanna get close to them. And that's really what he said. You're a cultural vulture. Literally, he called him a colonizer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He definitely did. He definitely did.
Yeah,
Out of nowhere.
you don't want to call it colonizer.
No, and I honestly, it was an important. I feel like it was somewhat an important conversation, and I definitely it was kind of. I think a lot of people saw Kendrick's point because Drake. I mean, obviously we've had him in popular music for a long time now. But realistically, yes, he did grow up in Toronto. He was on Degrassi in a wheelchair. And I remember when he put out, I started from the bottom. Now my whole team here. I thought, but did you? There was always an inauthenticity about Drake, even though he put out great dance bangers, like Nice
Yeah.
for What? Yes, gets everybody going. But
Yeah.
he is more of a pop star, I feel, than a
Mhm.
rapper, and he isn't the most authentic artist. And I think it finally caught up with him.
Yes,
And
it did.
that was in addition to some just bizarre behavior and
Yeah.
cover-ups on his part.
Yes, on his part. And just to chime in and give Drake some grace a little bit.
Yes.
So hip hop and rap, literally, Charlie just literally gave you the synopsis of the culture of that surrounds hip hop and rap and the American culture. Americans love originality. They love when I hear you, I want to know that you came from that. I want to feel what you came from that, and I'm gonna buy it. Now, to give Drake some grace, you have a lot of artists like us that come from international backgrounds that also love this American culture, that want to be part of it, right? Like we come to this great country of ours, and my my parents are not African Americans, but I'm one of the people that actually wanted to understand the African American culture as a young man, because when I was in high school, I wasn't accepted among the African American crowd in my school, and it bothered me. It was like, why? I look like you, bro. You look like my cousin. Why? And I remember in lunch or something, someone like, "Oh, your ancestors sold our ancestors in slavery," or something like that. And I smiled. I wasn't smile like in a mockery way or anything. I was just like the irony of things, right? Like he's not wrong, he's not right. Some Africans did that. But I also happen to know my origin of where I'm from. We got killed. My mother's village got killed trying to protect people from raiders. So the irony of it, we're all in this future now in America, and you're accusing me of something which is valid, but it's more complex than you think. So that gave me the birth of, I want to know your perspective, because I know my perspective. So, and I'm trying to know where I am right now. This is a new country for me. And you have to understand, hip hop comes from pain, storytelling. You look at, it's a black art, but when you look at where it comes from, where the black people come from, Africa, so you go to the drums of it, right? But when you start understanding, I minored in African studies, so I took a class that I was sent to Ghana for 2 months to study the transatlantic slave trade. And during the slave trade, slaves would literally drum on rocks to keep the music and the reading that left their home village alive during the passage. Going through the Atlantic Ocean, whatever they went through to come to this new land, they had to do certain things to keep that beat. That when you look at the 808s, it's like you're playing music, but it's far away, but it's hitting hard, right? So it's a lot of things when you try to understand where people come from and where they use this music as a survival tool. it's you have to understand at some like you said, it was very vicious at the beginning, and then the viciousness went to commercial. Let's commercialize a lot of things. Let's get this money because we need this cachet. But the music was always beautiful. That's why even when it got whatever, it still caught a lot of eyes. It's still growing because the music still gets you to a little bit of what is that? Oh, it's vicious. It's something that disrupts what is just a decent flow of a song, right? You have, a rock song. Or you can go to like all these other genres that we love, like this rock where the guitars and everything is very bizarre, right? Country is a little bit melodious in a bizarre way, right? So it's a lot of things that when you look at like hip hop, you're like, okay, I understand. Okay, this thing might be tied to this type of history of these people because we fail to highlight it, right? We just want to look at the music all the time. We don't want to go through the thing, but we have to highlight it. We have to understand because the music is impacting us. It's one of the most popular genres in the world.
Yeah. Life comes into it all the way to the roots, and that's
Yeah.
a beautiful thing about hip hop.
Yeah.
And it's something that I think we get here. We were talking about it coming out of nowhere, and we're talking about life and successes. This came off a huge success for an artist, and that is he finished his contract with his label and then bought the rights to produce his music straight to the record house. Charlie, what are the technical terms that I'm missing here on this one?
Blanking out a bit on that right now, actually.
No, you're good. You're good. But yeah, he bought, so he owns his own. He's owning his own, and as a man, as a family man, as a father on this Out of Nowhere album, the sixth of his collection. It's unbelievable.
No, that's a very good analysis, by the way. That's a very good point, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a new era for him. It's not just post Drake beef. There's much more going on in his career. This is truly a new chapter. And I will say one of the things that kind of intrigued me to this album a little bit, I saw the producers on it, and that also to me showcased like this new era because I saw Soundwave and Jack Antonoff, who we've talked about on this show quite a bit before. He's really well known for working with Taylor Swift, who not completely unrelated to Kendrick Lamar. They do have a song together, but it did seem a bit out of left field because I wasn't thinking that Jack Antonoff would be doing a hip hop record, but here we are.
Yeah,
you have to understand that Kendrick is very fluid with his creativity. Like he tries to, go with different things.
Yeah, and speaking of Jack Antonoff, as you see him, or in my opinion, maybe even a hot tea take here, but as you see him, or as I see him on more albums across genres and across, wild artists, he starts to stack up into maybe one of this era's historical producers. Somebody that people will be talking about 40, 50 years on a future podcast, the way we talk about Spectre or Rubin or just these legendary producers. So it's cool to see.
Yeah, I mean, he does keep going, and he's showing his versatility by doing something like this, which I really appreciate because that just was not the case with some of the work he did earlier. Well, now 2024. Some of the other work he did that year was not showcasing the versatility that we're going to get here.
Yeah, and he gets a call out from Kendrick in a track later on.
Yeah,
you're doing something right if you're getting a call out on a track.
Yeah, I know.
As a producer.
Yeah, he's a big name producer at this point, but really, this album also, it's a surprise album. It's a new era, and it's also coinciding with this announcement that he's going to be performing the halftime show at the Super Bowl. Right after it's announced, he announces a tour with one of the album's collaborators, SZA, which is definitely going to be one of the top tours of this year. So it really just is showing we're in a new league. And like, are we living through the Kendrick Lamar peak? Like, we really are living through
Yeah.
a moment in time with Kendrick Lamar right now.
Yeah,
And
we're living through a very special moment. Like when it comes to rap music, Kendrick is a very good person to represent us. I'm just being honest. I mean Drake is, I mean, like I said, we're not gonna demonize Drake and all, but again, when we come to just showing us the raw rap in its form, we need someone that is a little bit serious in his art form. And I was looking at when you can go online and do your research on the rap beefs that or the rap songs that they release against each other. Um, Drake had writers, and I'm not against writers, but you cannot be on a rap beef and your rap beef song has a writer. That is just you are not reading the room,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Beef aside, I have to say, we talked about it a little bit before the podcast started, but I tend to have an old man get off my lawn mentality for the newer hip hop. But I would say that he is I would agree with you. He is a great what's the word you used?
figurehead, maybe.
No, figurehead is a good one. He is a great figurehead for the world to see going forward with this new place hip hop is in. And what a great one to champion this. And for the NFL to pick him or Fox or whoever picks him for the Super Bowl, that's up there, man. That's up there, man. To the point where you hear people be like, well, we're not getting rock and roll acts anymore. And there's a valid point of, well, are there really big rock and roll bands like that anymore? So even a more a boost, if you will, to the place where hip hop and rap is, and we're living through it.
Yeah. So like Kendrick I feel he's always been there, right? He's always at least this is not. I don't think some people might think this is prime. I think them the project, them is his
Yeah,
prime. Them is
yeah.
his
I
prime.
would say he's in the latter third of his career.
Thank you,
He's in his fine wine phase.
thank you. Fine wine. Yep.
And I dig that. I dig that. Uh, for to me, that calls out a little bit more. I've always given him his props with a distant ear. But I like what I hear. I like where he's at. I like what he's doing. It speaks to me.
I will say this like what he is very smart in the sense where I feel like where he is at right now, he's in a safe space of the music he makes. He's comfortable and he knows people are gonna love it.
Yeah.
I think he doesn't care, like he doesn't care too much. Like he knows it's that good. But as a
You can
fan,
hear it. You can hear it in his music. You can feel it in his music.
you can
That's
feel
where
it.
he's at. Yeah.
But as a fan, when you go back to his old stuff, you would feel and hear a lot of vulnerability in his stuff. But you hear vulnerability of someone that's very talented, right?
Yeah.
The more vulnerable they are, the more you're like, oh, you're a talented guy. You're just a talented guy. Like
He was young. He was young too. We talked about it earlier, but we get to see him really grow up, so to speak. We see him as a grown father here,
mm-hmm.
and you feel it.
We do.
Yeah. So when it comes to like Kendrick Lamar, man, rap right now is a global genre.
Yeah.
It's more than just the West Coast. I can ask you, what's your favorite West Coast artist right now? Excluding Kendrick Lamar.
Including, I'm not sure. Of a current person, I'm not sure.
I'm trying to give you the difficulty of how hard of what he's doing right now. The West Coast is not in a great place in music right now when it comes to rap. That's why you cannot give me anybody. That's the reason. Number two, rap is not in a great space right now because, like Bruce said, there's a lot of mumble rap. Things got soft. Things got lost in the sauce. The people are, they're doing things for the cloud now. A lot of things going on. But you have someone that has a sense of originality, a sense of, oh, this is my mantra. He does his song like that's his last song. And that's one thing I love to take us away from being a fan from him, because I create too, but I'm different because when I listen to Kendrick and knowing now just a little bit about his creative process, he sends notes to DJ Mustard every day. Not even send notes. Like, you know what,
Yeah.
one note on Outlook, right? We use it at work. I can share my one note with you.
Right.
So he has a one note shared with DJ Mustard, and DJ Mustard has access to a lot of his notes, ideas, or things he's thinking. And do you know how many beats DJ Mustard sends him every day? Can you guess?
50.
Smart, but on a regular for the past 2 to 1 year, he's been sending 3 tracks a day. During the beef, he was sending 20 tracks a day.
Okay, 20 tracks a day. That sounds about right, because they were he was putting stuff out at breakneck speed during the rap.
Even if we hear the last song that was performed during the performance, TV Off.
Yeah.
A DJ Monster song. Now, I'll even bust your head. I'm a producer. TV Off and Not Like Us, it's the same beat, but twisted.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, well, we'll talk a bit more about TV Off when we get there, but I think that's a great time to start doing what we do and talking about each song on this bad boy.
Yep. Boy's back. Welcome back.
Let's get at it.
Let's go.
All right. Yes, let's do it. So the album begins with whacked out murals. This song starts with a really beautiful vocal from the Mexican singer Dayra Barrera. We hear her a few times throughout this album, and I would call this song the thesis statement of the album, the main objective, and he's acknowledging, yes, I have my detractors, but I'm going to stay true to me and my art, because his art is what he lives for. And it's got some of the energy of the diss tracks. There's a dig at Lil Wayne in here, which got quite a few headlines, but I appreciated it, but there is more going on here than just a diss at Lil Wayne. It's definitely, this is poetry, this song. This is poetry.
I was just gonna when we go to poetry, just to kick up with you, just to point out what Bruce said before, that Kendrick has a little bit of Nas in him.
Yeah.
This was alluding to Bruce's point. This is the storytelling and ability. He wanted, again, you have to understand, is a music creation it gives us, or as creator or anybody, you have to be vulnerable. And you have to really show us why. I mean, when we keep going down the tape, he actually was talking about why. Actually, now one question. Why am I the greatest? Why do you, as Charlie, listen to me right now? Why do I gain your respect to say, oh, Kendrick's number 1 and Tupac's number 2? Why? I'm gonna tell you why. Yeah. So it's literally the genesis of that. I just want to bring at that point. Yeah.
Corey.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sorry. You guys touched on so much. I have to agree with you, Charlie, that the Lil Wayne was out of nowhere in there. But I can see where he's coming from. I mean, when he was growing up, that was Wheezy. That was someone that you looked up to. I can see some stylings of his, throughout, or just inspiration if you must.
Yeah.
But this on the opening up thesis as a banger is on the next level. This song creeps in with this West Coast like low, I hate to say it, but like a drive-by type of mentality creeping in, and the lyrics creep in like that too. We come with a true thesis. A thesis for me is a mild way to say we come with a mission statement here. And by the end of this track, you know exactly what's going down. It is a uniquely it's a uniquely paced fast song. As crazy as that sounds, like there's a lot going on here on a sound that's produced to creep up on you, and it's a beautiful opener. I dig where we're going on this. I've only had a week with this album, so as as many times as I've listened to it, I've always found something new. And it starts here with this song.
Yeah, that's really good. Charlie's right on point.
Yeah, hopefully we can keep that going. Hopefully I can stay that way with the next track, which is Squabble Up, which was the single released along with the album. This song contains a sample of the 80s freestyle track When I Hear Music by Debbie Deb. And that's kind of an interesting choice, I think, due to the fact that Debbie Deb did not have the best experience with the machine. They tried to hide her because she was overweight back when she was singing in the 80s, which is, really sad to think about. They put an illustration on her album cover because they wouldn't show her because she was not their standard, which is fucked up. And she was a teenage girl singing this. That's just not right. It's just not. But she is used for this sample, and it's admittedly it speaks to my taste of music because I like 80s dance songs. So this hits my sweet spot. So but it's a well done sample, and we've run into some rough samples and poorly done ones in recent years, not just in hip hop, but all genres. I've heard some horrendous ones in country, especially. I've heard a couple horrendous ones recently. So to hear one be so well done is impressive because that's the point we're at. As we said, hip hop's not in the best place. Sampling's a huge part of hip hop, and this one is well used, and it's got just a very classic feel to it. And this is telling me Kendrick can make a party song just as well as Drake. That's what I'm getting from this, and I'm here for it. Love this song.
Yeah. I'll look at Squabble Up. Like, what do you think that means to you? Like when you hear the word Squabble Up.
My first thought was fight, but I did look up that it could also mean just to dance.
Yep.
So
but also more than that. So the minute what it could mean to us, but also let's even explain what Squabble Up, even the scenario of it, right? Let's say me and you are having an issue, and we've been talking about this issue for 5-10 minutes now. I can be like, squabble up. Like, you don't want to do it, let's just handle it as men, right? That's the real meaning of squabble up. Let's handle it as men. That's squabble up. So when you're coming off a beef and you have a track like Squabble Up, you're literally saying, Drake, man, come on, man, we're gonna put up the gloves, bro. It's just a sport. He did an interview right before the Super Bowl, right? That he called this as a sport. Like, I'm just trying to box. Squabble Up. He also explains why he released it as a second single, did a video and everything, alluding to what Charlie was talking about, this sampling and everything. I love that so much because I watched a podcast about a producer called Hitmaker, a hip hop producer called Hitmaker, previously known as Youngberg, the artist, if you want to hear old school guy.
I like it.
Right? He was alluding to, we need Drake, and Kendrick's direction of music is not good for the culture. And one of the guys on the podcast said, you have to understand that, yeah, Drake makes the popular music that the world more than outside America is gonna like. We understand that, but Kendrick, like I asked Charlie previously, hey, what's your best favorite hip hop artist or rapper from the West Coast that's not Kendrick? He couldn't name anyone, and I said, but guess what? So the hip hop game on the West Coast is down, right? Um, First of all, rap is actually not in a great space right now when it comes to content generally, right? And this guy is still making wave from the West Coast that is down. So when you have a track like Squabble Up, and you have a track like, and that Squabble has a sample that gives a blueprint to the new generation, the regular artists from West Coast, from California. This is a blueprint for us to get to take this. You might not think is the best place for rap to go, but as a West Coast artist, a rap artist, I can take that and replicate it. And that's the type of impact that he represents, really. So that's my take on Squabble Up, and it's a dope track. It's a dope track.
Yeah, I mean, what a blueprint it is, and
Yeah.
and it stacks on stacks on stacks blueprint because you've got, for me, you've got three here. It's not cited, but Planet Rock is in here. You get straight up Planet Rock, then you get the Debbie Deb, and then you get Kendrick on top. So this blueprint for going forward is masterfully crafted, in my opinion.
And it's simple. It's simple too.
Most definitely.
It's not it is the most complicated song.
Yeah. And
it's literally, it's like it's nursery rhymes.
But
it's dope. Like
it is. It's as simple as it gets. And as the number 2 coming out of this Creep Up song, it opens with just a full-on hardcore breath, in and out. And then he says, here comes the attack. Squabble up. Let's go. Let's get at it. I'm going to give it to you straight. And I'm just going to use these. I'm not going to use cookie cutter in the negative sense I usually use it. But I'm going to use these. I'll use the word building blocks. I'm going to use these old school triple generation building blocks from funk. And then the way that West Coast rap, or the West Coast style early on, really took its inspiration from funk. I'm bringing that in here. I've got the 80s in here, and then here we go. It's a stellar number 2 at the very least. It's a beautiful, beautiful track. And it definitely opens this album up and gets it going.
A fun fact about that song and the video, the Squabble Up, right? The extras on the video never heard the music when they were shooting the video, and they never saw Kendrick. They didn't know what they were They didn't know what they were dancing to. It just gave me a crazy idea. Like they didn't know. Like the Mexican guy doing he gave an interview like this. I got money to come and dance, do my little swag.
That's wild.
I just heard some kind of drum cadence, and they asked me to do a certain thing, and that was it. Oh, in the green screen, and I left.
That's awesome. That is very cool.
I think they got lucky with a great dance song. That's the good news of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, speaking of having a blueprint and harkening back to previous genres, we get a different, but similar era, but different genre showcased on the next track, which is Luther. This is first of 2 collaborations featuring SZA. And this song samples If This World Were Mine, which is a duet in this form between Luther Vandross and Cheryl Lynn. But it's a cover of one of Marvin Gaye's duets with Tammy Terrell. So we're going 60s, 80s, 2020s, all in one song, basically, which is awesome. What a great way to show respect. But the question is, can they put it together well? And the answer to that is yes, they can. Because Kendrick and SZA, I mean, they did All the Stars. They've worked together several times before. They've got that great chemistry, and you hear it on this song. And it's the sample's immaculately used. This does have a classic soul feel while feeling modern. And the song, just from the moment I heard it, it floored me, and it continues to floor me each time I listen to
It's your
it.
favorite song, done it.
You think it's my favorite?
I'm asking, is it?
But
A
I
lot of people's
usually,
favorite. It's okay.
yeah, it is. This is the one. If you
Oh
couldn't
man.
tell, I think I gave it away there because
Oh man. Hey, Cesar is an amazing artist, right? And it goes to I don't know if you touched on the TD connection, which is his previous label that he just got out of. They
Yeah.
were
yeah, she
label
was with
mates,
them.
right?
Yeah.
And they have amazing chemistry. Um and to give a little backtrack to the beef, Cesar is Drake's they did it before. You know, they had a little romance before. And there's a lot of things that she's kind of like a piece in this thing because he's going with her on the stadium tour. He brought her on the Super Bowl stage. So it's a thing where he's leveraging a lot of industry, currency on this. Because Drake loves some Cesar on his tapes. Like, if you know, on this last tape, Slide Me Out features Drake's song featuring Cesar. And his last, like, he loves Cesar. Like, he does it. So it's one of those things where it's like, the art of war, right? Like, I'm in the battle with this guy. I just want to let him know, yeah, you're dope. I love the Drake that sings, not the Drake that acts like a tough guy, right? That's one of the lines in one of his diss songs. It's like, dude, I still like your artistry, but rapping is who I am. And I can sing too, because you can listen to this song we're talking about. He's on his melodious rap, right? He's blending melody with rapping. And what do we say? What do we love Drake for? Right? It's a lot of subliminal things when you want to look at certain things like then you go to what Charlie's like about the samples and the classicness of the song itself. It's just a good song, man. Like I don't know what else to say. Like
No, it is, and you're right. We get to hear some of Kendrick singing, which is great. But I think it's accentuated by the way this song starts out too, and that's in this like monotone run here. We get a full on spoken, and then we get a beautiful voice, and then we get them both together, intertwined like this story ends up or wants them to be. This star-crossed lover story, if you will, for lack of better words, that we get here. It's set so perfectly over a Luther Vandross track, which is so crazy. You think about sexiness, you think about love, and you go to Luther Vandross. So some beautiful slow R&B. You go to Luther Vandross, and it carries here. It really does. As a number 3, you could put the love song here and it could put the brakes on the album, but this one doesn't. It blends that hip hop mentality so much with that smooth R&B that this album just keeps going. We talk chemistry. They got some serious chemistry, and I'm not familiar with them on the level now after hearing this that I should be, but just hearing them together on this track this week, it's undeniable. This is a really good track.
I think it's itself. Cesar is just an amazing artist. Our voice is very unique, and we talk about voice textures a lot when we talk about our likeness when it comes to an artist. She has a very sweet voice. I was just like, I was listening to another song where of her tape where she features Kendrick, and I was just thinking, I was listening to that this morning going to work. I was like, this girl just have a sweet voice, man. Like whatever she says, she could just whisper and like, okay. Like, okay, man. Like
It's
that's what it
very
is.
it's a versatile voice because, well, they did
Yeah.
this song at the Super Bowl, and I was at a party with some relatives, and my mom was sitting next to me and said, "Oh, she has a good voice," and she had to have noted that because Luther Vandross is like her era of R and
Yeah.
B. Like she listened to that stuff back in the day, and you hear SZA able to sing over that classic sound when not all of her music sounds like that. Because on the other hand, she's doing other sounds.
Yeah.
But what it's a sweet voice, but a versatile one. And just what a song, what a performance.
And this shows would be wrong to not highlight the moving force to even this type of music, right?
Yeah.
The label is TDE, right? By Punch. This guy is called Punch. Punch, one of the guys that signed Kendrick. I don't know if it, it's two guys. I think Punch and some other guy. What's his name? One of them actually was was robbed by Kendrick's dad
Oh,
when Kendrick's dad was young
okay.
and let him go.
Wow.
When you listen to them, the album, Kendrick has a song there that label will tell you the whole story.
Wow.
So imagine you signing a kid that his father robbed you at gunpoint and you let him go.
That's a crazy story.
That is great.
So it's these people, these guys came up with this label, TDE, had Cesar there at Kendrick, came up with the fact that they don't really have that much of a female artist. Like he had a bunch of male artists like J Rock, Absol, Kendrick. Then they had this one female artist. But the reason why I wanted to highlight them was like what Bro said was the genre became starving for attention at the same time. And that did a lot of damage. More than good. It did good because it got a lot of eyeballs. I felt like it was regardless, it was still gonna get the eyeballs, right? It was gonna stand the test of time. But what TDE represent now is they try to have a balance of it. All the artists that you can go and Google TDE artists and listen to them. They have a new female artist that is like is literally the new female Kendrick Lamar or the new Nicki Minaj. Nobody knows of her now. But I've said it here.
Heard that.
Doechii. Go listen to her.
Okay.
Very
Well,
authentic.
she
She's
came
very
up on the
dramatic.
show a while ago.
Exactly.
Yeah, and
So-
she just won a Grammy for
Yeah,
best
just won-
rap album. So
Yeah.
she's
Thank you.
yeah. Actually, she was one of the better parts of that Katy Perry album we discussed. 'Cause
Yeah.
that wasn't.
You want to talk about a voice that I like? I like Doechie's voice.
Exactly.
She does it for me there.
Exactly. So this engine, TDE, have tried to find a way to bring content, quality content, but also, fight the threshold of attacking that pop line. So
Yeah.
you can get Kendrick with a Taylor Swift track. But Kendrick don't do feature for nobody. But Kendrick was on a Taylor Swift track though.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
somebody
Also on
sat
the
him
Maroon
down.
5 track.
Thank you. So someone sat him down and told him it was necessary, right? We all know how that works, right, guys?
Yeah.
If you're in the music,
Playing the game.
right? They sat him down, and you imagine you being the guy chosen to convince him that was necessary. And then let's bring it to his biggest stage. He never brought those guys up, and those guys would have made his show probably even surpass. Imagine him bringing those guys that we just mentioned
Oh yeah.
on
Oh,
stage.
yeah.
Well, there might have been some booze if it were Taylor Swift, but
No. But you do know what it
Yeah.
would the boost. You know what boost is, right? Negative and positive in the social media space is good money.
yeah,
I don't know what you mean. Imagine if Taylor Swift was acting like she was just attending the game, watching the game, and somehow she came there singing the song, inviting Kendrick on stage and doing that. That would have been mad. But Kendrick couldn't do it because if you were part of the culture and you listened to Drake's accusations, was he accused Kendrick of being kind of like under some masters, which they would tell him, you got to do this now. You got to go give that verse. You got to go do that. This you got to go pay the bill now.
Yeah.
But Kendrick is a West Coast guy. He probably likes Taylor Swift personally.
Yeah. I don't know how hard of a sell would have to be. He seems
Thank
like
you.
a musician who would just get
Thank
down
you.
to get down, you know?
Yeah, he probably likes Taylor Swift personally. He probably likes Maroon 5 personally. And Maroon 5 one is like, dude, they're West Coast kind of vibe, all of that.
They're
And
a
they're classic.
California band.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Maroon
They're classic.
5.
Yeah.
They're a classic kind of band. And I'm be honest, Kendrick is signed by somebody that gets paid a lot
Yep.
to make sure he's happy. Let us get this straight. He talks confidently because he gets paid to talk confidently. To brag that you're the best at rapping, you get attacked on every level. Your contracts, the company that did everything is on the table. It's like a presidential election. We want to see your taxes.
Yep.
You can't talk to me when you get signed by the guy that got signed by the guy that got signed. And then the crazy thing about all of these guys, it was one LLC that signed these two guys.
One LLC.
Yeah, UMG.
Yep.
Oh, of course, yeah.
They both own them.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the irony that people don't understand the culture. But that's my own take on certain things where there is the perception of the culture and music in the user or consumer sense, and there's what is.
Yeah.
You have two artists, heavyweights, that are fighting and about to knock off each other, but they're signed by the same company. That's what is going on, guys.
And that is what's happening with Drake and
I don't know how
UMG.
simple. I don't know how simple enough we can explain this, but that's literally what's going on. You can Google it.
That is what's happening. It's pretty crazy.
It's mind boggling. But again, that's the reality versus perception of the art. The art, it's black art, but it's not black owned, unfortunately. So you would have when people say, "Oh my God, Kendrick is signed by UMG, that signed Drake." Yes.
Yep.
Somebody got to pay the bill, bro.
Yeah, it's a conglomerate.
Got to give this artist a deal they can't say no to.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you have Kendrick that was signed on that TDE, like you said, bought out himself.
Yep.
But he goes and makes a deal with Dr. Dre and Jimmy Iovine. And what is this deal? I just need a meeting with the boss, the guy that's giving $450 million to that Canadian kid that was on the grassy. And I want to tell them I'm going to make them proud.
Yep.
That's what happened.
Yeah.
That's the machine. Even when it's names you know and love inside of it, you can't deny that the machine is the machine. We talk about it almost every week.
Yeah,
whether it's good or bad,
is crazy.
It is real. It is real.
Crazy.
Yeah. But to get in that, there is a story of sacrifice to get in there, which brings us to the next track on the album, which is Man at the Garden. This is a pretty straightforward song. It's about how Kendrick deserves it all because he worked hard for it. I interpret the garden in the title. I've seen some people think it's a biblical reference. I interpreted it to be like Madison Square Garden because that's a venue that's like signifies success and that you've made it for music. Like he is the man at the garden. He's been there before that. So that was how I interpreted it.
I rarely cut into when you're doing yours here, but have you ever heard anybody say that? Like, can you find anybody saying that online? The garden reference?
Yes.
I couldn't find anybody. Charlie, I'm right with you. That was going to be my summation is I thought it was a reach, but you can do biblical all day. This is a pump up song to yourself walking out in the garden, man. Like you made it. Oh, I'm so with you. I'm so glad you said that. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, that's
It's
dope.
a
The Man of the Garden, I love the analogy you did when it comes to like just the venue, right? Like the garden or whatever. And you can look at LeBron going to Madison Square Garden and putting up 50. You can look at that analogy. He loves playing in New York, right?
Yeah.
But when you listen to the lyrics of it, it's that answering that question. You, the listener, why am I the best rapper right now? Why do I deserve your vote to be the number one? He's still trying to answer that question, literally.
Yeah.
So when I'm listening to that, and you want to talk about all these things I told you about the lineage of the Black culture influencing the art, he's talking about his heritage. He's talking about his DNA. If you go back to the songs, he's talking about what he's made of. He's talking about his drive. He's talking about his struggle. He's talking about his vulnerability. He's talking about his strengths, his weaknesses. He's talking about what he's going to do to make sure that you know he's actually the one. Like he's literally trying to let you know I'm powerful, but also I'm human. But also I love music and I'm here to kind of like piece this thing together. And he's screaming at the end of the song, he's screaming, why am I the greatest? Like, why? Like, why do you think I am? Or why do I think I am? Or why do I even dare to take on this? I know you think I'm daring. I know. But he's like, yo, I'm here to answer that. But if I have to make 50, 100 songs, to try to tackle that, I'll try. But I definitely know I'm here to answer that. So that gave me that, that impression from that track. It's brilliant. It's spiritual. I love the track. I remember listening to the tape. I didn't skip anything. And on that track, I would press rip it. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
rip it. So it's crazy. So it's dope, man. Some of my cousins are here. They're listening to me talk about the tape. So.
There you
go.
it's a dope track, and I really did appreciate.
Would not tolerate any Drake slander.
So there are some Drake fans.
We
here.
love Drake. I don't care
Drake
about Kendrick. Drake.
There's some Drake fans here.
We have to be realistic.
Oh God,
Drake
man.
is musically.
Wait.
Let's do it
One at a time. One at a time. Wait.
Look.
No. Wait. You get it. You wait. He's gonna start. You get it. You get on the thing, and it's Charlie. You're gonna introduce yourself to Charlie, and then you give yourself.
I am Charlie.
This is my cousin. He's gonna get it. My headset. He's gonna talk for 2 minutes, Charlie.
2 minutes.
Is a Drake fan.
It's a Drake fan. Okay.
Hello.
New perspectives.
Hey.
How you guys doing?
All right.
We're great. How are you?
Okay, so are we music fans or are we artist fans?
We are music fans.
The GNX
Okay.
album.
So we're reviewing what, the GNX album?
Yes, I'll give you.
Yes, we're on we're talking about Man of the Garden right now, and
So we on Man in the Garden.
yeah, we're about to go to Hey Now though.
Your Drake fans,
So as from like I'm somebody who I asked before I got on, like, are you a music fan or are you like an artist fan? I love music. I am a Kendrick fan. Everything Kendrick has done since Section 8 I've listened to. I listen to it wholeheartedly. I know word for word. I've been to concerts. I've been to everything that he does. And I understand it. No problem. I still think Drake is a better artist. I don't think it should be compared.
I love this perspective.
There you go.
I think it's something where you're trying to compare. Like, Drake is who Drake says he is. By far. And I think Kendrick, lyrics-wise, Kendrick does what we need him to do. But Drake is a better artist. Marketable-wise, 15 years, Drake has been number one in every aspect of anything he does in his career. So now the GNX album was amazing. I like it. But if the GNX album wasn't built off of the background of I'm dissing Drake, would it be what it needed to be?
That's a great question. We're trying to answer that. I'm telling you, with having somebody that's such a fan of Kendrick, we were just talking through Man at the Garden, and we were saying, is it a biblical reference? Do you take the garden as a biblical reference, or do you take the garden as being synonymous with Madison Square Garden and playing it and making it as an artist?
I think it's both. So I think
Nice.
whenever Kendrick try to drop something, right, it's subliminal. He has to
Mhm.
drop. It makes it so complicated for us as consumers to seduce it. So now let's go. If you want to go with the Madison Square Garden, it's the Mecca. Anybody wants to perform there. Anybody wants to do something there. If you do something there, you feel like you've made it, right?
Yep,
Then
exactly.
there's the biblical version of, so he has to always play it like that.
Yeah.
But I feel like in the form of Kendrick, is we all forget that he took like a 4 or 5 year hiatus and he just worked on him. No matter what came out, he never said anything. He dropped his label. He got PG Lane. He got all of that kind of stuff. So we can play it in any part. So in any aspect, we can argue it on any aspect. So that we can go to the aspect of like, okay, Madison Square Garden. If you're an artist, if you're a performer, if you're anybody, and you do something at Madison Square Garden, you consider it to yourself as a human being, like, I've made it. Have you?
I guess it depends on what your goals are. I feel like that the garden has become synonymous with making it, especially in American music,
Yeah.
historically.
Yeah. So I think when we go like artistly, it's like they do, it's either you're doing an arena tour, you're doing a stadium tour, and you're doing that. And that's okay. But it's like, what do you personally feel like? So it's
Yeah.
like if I dropped a song today and 16 people heard those songs, I feel like I did something.
Yes.
Right.
Whereas if anybody else dropped a song today and then it didn't go platinum, like what the industry has based us to view what success is. If I didn't go diamond, platinum, and any of those things, I feel like I failed. Is that really the measure of what we're trying to do now?
I do get where you're coming from, but what I would say specifically in terms of the garden metaphor, I've been to Madison Square Garden. I know Corey has too. And if you go there, you'll see some banners for certain music artists who like broke records there. There are people who have. And one thing that I think makes a difference in terms of this interpretation is the fact that these artists who get these celebrations for playing Madison Square Garden 13 or 15 times or 100 times, even if you're Billy Joel, they're all white artists. So I think there's a bit of a different dimension to Kendrick being at the Garden because of that, because so much of the celebration around it surrounds white artists, because we're talking about Billy Joel and Fish and Harry Styles or Madonna.
Oh, that's the beauty of the artist, and that's why we talk about it all the time. The beauty of how you can make art and anybody can take it. So you can be fans of everything, and that's what we like to promote here.
I don't think today's society is able to accept both. Because I've had conversations with people where they're like, you didn't accept the Super Bowl performance because you didn't understand the message. And I was like, it was boring. And they're like, oh, blah, blah. I was like, it was boring. And Sync, Stand by Stand, Drake is performing in Australia right now. He's doing 200K. People, if Drake is washed, how do you sell out 200 stuff? Like, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
So he's doing something that's unprecedented. So you want me to believe that he lost?
Drake is kind of, I think, one of those people, like, even if he faces backlash like he has, he does definitely still have enough fans to recover, and he can't completely fail at this point because of his longevity and his hits. He just is at that point, much like Taylor Swift, who also probably a backlash is brewing right now, I think. But you know what? She's too big to fail, and Drake probably is too.
Yeah, I think they've reached the level of their careers where I don't see them failing, but I think in this like little rivalry and in the beef and anything, as somebody who's been in entertainment for years, it's just we hear things and we brush it off. Some people do, but when we soak up the information, I'm like, oh no, he knows exactly what he's doing. He has it completely mapped out. So
Calculated.
in my end, I feel like, music wise, if you're looking for lyrics, you're looking for something calm, something like to open your mind, you're trying to meditate, you're trying to do that, of course, you go to Kendrick. But Drake has had our summers lit for 15 years straight.
Yep, can't take it away.
So it's like he's not going anywhere. Drake is Drake.
Heard that.
He's definitely. Yeah, I mean, he was still one of the top Billboard artists of 2024.
Yep.
He is kind of too big to fail, despite this victory for Kendrick Lamar. I think that was an important perspective to hear on all of this, for sure.
Yep.
So,
thank you so much for that. That
Yeah.
was awesome.
What were your thoughts on the Super Bowl?
I really liked it. I didn't think it was the most spectacular performance, but I didn't expect that from Kendrick Lamar. And I really liked how Man at the Garden was used with Uncle Sam responding to it. I thought it was a really interesting performance, and I enjoyed all of the dancers. I enjoyed SZA, and I did rewatch it to pick up on some stuff that I missed the first time. So I do think it wasn't quite the spectacle that you might get. I'm not going to say it was my favorite halftime show even recently. I loved Usher last year because Usher's a showman, but this was a different kind of entertainment, and I think there's a room for all different kinds of performances on a stage like that.
Yeah, it's cool to
Mhm.
see that there's room too, because if you look at Kendrick as an artist, in my opinion, he is substance over spectacle. And when we look at Super Bowl, we look for spectacle, but this was just enough spectacle for me where his substance wasn't wasted. And I think he shined. Especially as a Super Bowl medley. It's tough to do sometimes with hip hop because there's such a beautiful story throughout each song that when you get that medley and snippets, it feels a little bit as lost for me on like halftime shows. So I think they did a good job putting it together, and I think it stuck true to him. I don't think I would have liked it if it was Lady Gaga level spectacle.
Yeah.
I think Kendrick would have been him as an artist would have been lost in that. So I was glad to see it wasn't.
All right, so my ultimate question to you now comes that knowing Kendrick's catalog, knowing he's a 2-time Pulitzer winner, he has so much in his catalog. Do you think that he undersold as an artist, being that we all come to the Super Bowl as an artist, we want to hear your best of your best. And I don't think I heard nothing from Kendrick that I was super impressed about. I understand the background of the PlayStation and the Uncle Sam. I understand all of that. Selection wise, music wise, do you think he did what he needed to do as an artist?
I think for me it's twofold here. We were just talking about the machine. I think the machine being like big money music, who makes the calls. Long story short, for me, twofold here. The machine, he was told he's got this new album. You can do a halftime show with this new album to promote it, and you can tell your story the best you can, but you're going to do it in these parameters. So that's the first part. Second part, for me, it's not necessarily, especially where he is in his career, and I'm giving him a younger note. We were talking earlier about him being in my opinion, the latter third or the third part, of his career. This isn't the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, so I don't need his catalog just per se at the Super Bowl. Like, I don't need a greatest hits. I think in that aspect he did a good job. But that's just me. I wasn't looking for a greatest hits here.
Yeah, and
let me hear your point of view also. Go ahead.
I think that in terms of the hits, I felt like he tried to balance it kind of, and some of these new songs are hits, like this Lufer song with SZA, which we discussed and we love. That's a current hit right now. Squabble Up, top the charts immediately. Not Like Us is absolutely a hit. Humble, absolutely a hit.
I'm sorry, not to interrupt you, but you just kind of used the keyword of right now, and that's kind of what I want us to hold on to, right? Now let's go back to his catalog. There's songs like "Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe." There's songs like, oh my God, Good Kid, Mad City. I can go on and on and on about the songs. I don't want us to hold on too much. Do you think that he overfed into his message rather than showing us his catalog?
I don't think he did.
I don't think he
Just
did
my
either.
call.
Yeah, it's a tough line to walk as an artist.
He played 7 songs from GNX. 7.
That's what I'm saying.
But it wasn't needed. In my opinion, if Kendrick came out, you feel me, and he just the whole point, go back to every other Super Bowl performer. We can go back every other one. Rihanna, all of that. They played their best songs. They play the songs that get the crowd hype. They play the songs that people know. They play the songs that people can sing along to. And I feel like in that moment, he paid so much attention to trying to paint this picture rather than feeding into the crowd, rather than giving us what we wanted. Now, I get it. There's no need for you to play 7 songs from your newest album. We don't know those songs. That's not who we know you for. Like, we go back. Can we name 7 songs from GNX, please? Anybody?
We're going through them tonight. So I feel like I'm sort of cheating.
But going through them is like, imagine. But who do you know Kendrick Lamar to be?
I hear where you're coming from. I just feel like that ends up being a corporate decision, and I feel like he did the best with what he could. I feel like that came a lot from labels being like, or whoever the powers may be, being like, all right, you got to do this album.
I don't think that was the case. I think this was his vision. This was so
agree with that.
Yeah, he left TDE and went to PG Lang. PG Lang, it's him. He built it. And I feel like he built this image and he wanted to show us something. Everything from the PlayStation, and Sony owns PlayStation, and he's trying to say Sony's suing him. He had so many messages in it where it's like, if you don't know the background, we're all going to be lost. Whereas you had an opportunity to just make all of us feel involved. You could have done classic, like Kendrick Lamar music, and would have been okay. If he would have opened that show with, just imagine if he opened a show and it was like, I don't know, Humble or something that we all know. The show would have started off hype. Everybody would have known it. The reason that people weren't as hype at his show and they can give it the critic that they're doing it is simply because he did everything off GNX. 7 songs from GNX is crazy. He opened the show with an unreleased freestyle from GNX. We don't know that. So who in the crowd, on top of the fact that your team is losing, is going to get hyped to that? We're not. If he would have opened the show as just an artist, he had so much of, I want to put in a message and I have Uncle Sam and I have all of this kind of stuff. Just imagine, he did the whole, I remember Uncle Sam came out and did the message and it was like, oh no, this is too ghetto. This is too that. Imagine if Money Trees came off after that. That shows the exact message of what he's trying to say. But he won't do it because he still has to promote his tour, the message, and all of that. This is the first year that the Super Bowl has ever been premiered on Disney Plus. They're kids. They had like promotions for kids, Lilo and Stitch, and all of that kind of stuff. They have to reduce that because you're on your Super Bowl halftime performance calling another artist a pedophile.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
So I think if he would have changed his set list, it would have been a perfect performance. But he didn't have the ability to do that because he just wanted to like push this point upon us where it's like, okay, yeah, this is this. And I was like, okay, we accept it. We'll take it. But that's not the point. It had nothing to do with that. The image he was trying to portray. I didn't mind him performing Not Like Us. I was looking forward to that because I knew he had to. I just wanted to know how he was going to introduce it. But don't come and introduce it in an aspect where you're saying, oh, they don't want me to perform this because they're going to sue me. They're going to sue you regardless. If you're going to do that, just do it. But we didn't invite you to Super Bowl. And I get it. He's 8% above like last year's Super Bowl. I get it. He got the numbers. But just imagine playing devil's advocate if Wayne had that Super Bowl. And then Wayne had a YMCMB reunion. And then Wayne brought out Drake. And then Wayne did this. And Wayne, do you think it would not have been just more entertaining than what Kendrick gave us?
I mean, that's fantasy booking right there. As a wrestling fan, that's like,
Yeah.
if Hulk Hogan ever fought, I don't even know.
Yeah.
But fantasy bookings are always fun. There is something to be said. What if, like the Marvel Universe says, what if it was Wheezy at the halftime show?
I just want to ask you, like, do you think, in my opinion, we're in New Orleans, we're in a
Yeah.
and we have Wheezy. I don't care if he knows how to perform or not. Per the people he brought out, per his performance, per the choreography, per all of that, do you think that it would have been a better show than yelling out mustard at the end?
I think that could be a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not the biggest Lil Wayne fan. I think I'm a bit biased in that regard. Might sound crazy to some. Here's the only question I'll pose to you about that is Wayne's got hits, he's got guests. When was his last hit versus when was Kendrick's last hit?
So we do the Super Bowl, per my understanding, based off of status, like build, how can we bring the culture together and all of that kind of stuff, right? And so I ask you a question. Per Wayne's career, right? Let's go to mixtape Wheezy. Let's go to per influence.
You think that normal American knows what mixtape Wheezy is?
Yes, I do.
I would love that, but I don't know if that's true. I would if everybody knew what Squad Up was, that would be awesome. But I don't think the
So I had one of my friends ask me yesterday that, do you think A Milli by Wayne is a bigger song than Not Like Us? And I
No,
said,
not at all.
oh my God.
Lollipop, yes. A Billy, no.
Oh my God. A Milli was a way bigger song. So now us coming up, you have to realize Wayne was dropping We Be Steady Mobbing. He was doing the No Ceilings mixtapes. He was doing all of those things that if we can record it in Apple Music, Wayne would have been a way bigger artist. But realize that Wayne was dropping every day. It wasn't even close. Think about it.
He was. In
So go back-
2025, who's more relevant?
Thank you. So now you think Not Like Us is a way bigger, like it's not a bigger record. It's not even close. It's not even close.
It was the song of the summer.
Oh, no, wait. That's has an answer to it.
So I've heard a lot of things you said, right? You guys have now you see the crazy people I'm around, right? The crazy ideas, right?
great ideas, great ideas.
Yeah.
Great. Oh, you love the ideas? You
I love
it?
all ideas.
They're interesting to think about. I like
That's why we
thinking
talk
about
here.
it in a different way. I really do.
No, he's a very knowledgeable guy.
I can
He's a
tell.
promoter, so he knows. Yeah, he knows. He lives the entertainment business. Like he's into the culture. He's You know, he has the young ear and all of that. So I
Definitely
mean,
does.
I didn't know he wanted to get into this, but they were upstairs and they
We'll,
got.
we'll always take a different perspective. Maybe he could come back and do a whole show with us.
Oh yeah, he's always available for that for sure.
Maybe we could talk about classic Lil Wayne. Who knows?
Yeah. So to kind of like because I heard a little bit of what his points were. Um, he's right, but um, is reading the room right? Is like
Yeah.
is the whole aspect of us talking about reading the room. Kendrick is in the business of reading the room.
Yep.
He's not gonna do what we all the multitude think he should do, but he can read the room and say, "This is what I think that is the right thing to do." Now, his performing in the Super Bowl, the president of the country is there. I remember someone mentioned that someone was protesting that, oh, there was no white dancers. But that was the point. That was the whole point. If you miss the point, you miss the point. The fact that you even said that, but that was the point, right?
Only other time that I can think of, and this was not even at the same level, where somebody even came close to making that bold of a statement during their halftime show was in 2017 when Lady Gaga sang Born This Way in front of the vice president at the time, Mike Pence. That was a bold statement to say, I don't agree with your view on LGBTQ rights because of some of the policies you've supported. So I'm going to sing my pride anthem. This is another level. You did this whole performance in front of the president to make a point. And I felt that there's a lot of different ways things can be interpreted, but when I watched the show, the analytical part of my brain was not fully turned on. But I got the macro concept that, like, Kendrick Lamar is letting this audience know how he feels about America in 2025. And I think that's so powerful, especially in front of the president.
Yeah, and some people, I mean, a lot of people voted for Trump. That's why he's the president. But we also have a lot of people that say America is a very multicultural country, and anybody that tried to come between us because of how we look or how we sound or where we come from is kind of not un-American. And he's trying to kind of like say that in his own way. You have to understand, like my cousin said, like he could have given us his greatest show. Like he's about to do a soundtrack for Captain America. The Captain American guy just announced that. The other day. I don't think he was supposed to announce it, but he just said it. Like Kendrick is getting me a project. Like so he's doing soundtracks for major studios. So he doesn't lack what he needs to perform at the Super Bowl. He did whatever he did intentionally. When he said, "Hey Drake," he didn't wasn't looking at the sky. He looked at the camera,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
He's and again he's right. Um, we knew you were gonna perform it, so why don't you just perform? But he's trying to like he's from California, and one thing I love about them is they treat their music as movies, and he's trying to give us a movie here. He has Samuel L. Jackson playing a character. It's more than just him going and playing the DJ, play that track, let me sing. He's trying to give us we could say a show, but it's literally a cinema of things because we're looking at the people's just like Squid Game. If you didn't catch that, right?
Yeah.
So, or you want to even go a little deeper, Hood Squid Game. Oh, what does that mean to you? Hood Squid Game. So, what is Squid Game? Squid Game is a show of people get into quote unquote life synopsis of games that will get them killed and blooded, murdered on a show to figure out how they're gonna get rich. Now you go to the Hood Squid Game, you have artists that we just talked about because the black plight and being the fact that most African Americans in the subpar side of economic status, they look at becoming a basketball player or becoming a rapper as a very big opportunity where they can hit their luck, like a lottery box. So it's like a game. And you get there to Chicago and you have all this publicized violence that grabs all our attention, that gets publicized in the music. It's kind of like a Squid Game stuff. Like we all love it, but it's blood, but we love it. It's #1 on Netflix. It's a lot of bloodshed.
Yeah,
Right?
I only watched season 1. I heard season 2. I'm like, nope, not again. That was
Come on, don't be
it
a
was
softie.
disturbing.
Don't be
I
a
know that was the
softie. Don't
point,
be a
but
softie. Come on. Don't be a softie. You
I'm
know
a
you love it.
softie. I watch Office and Lucille Ball shows. I'm a softie.
No, I look at Squid Game as it's necessary for the art culture. I
I
There's a lot
agree.
of, for example, we look at a rapper like Young Top, right? He comes off from the mumble era. He goes on a case where they're using his lyrics to indict him for life. Now, I'm not here to say I'm a Young Top's lawyer and he never did crime. He probably did those stuff. I'll be honest with you. He probably did it. Now, but do I think his lyrics should be used as, oh, this is the mantra of evidence against you? But we have Squid Game where they're killing people every 2 minutes of the frame of the show. There's someone getting popped in the most bloody way, and it's hard. It's #1 on Netflix. So I really, but I don't think so. You should write a book of you killing somebody, and we have a video camera of you going there and killing the person. You did it, and you need to be in jail. So there's a tension of where reality and fairness to the society is there versus what's the fairness to the artist. Where is my lyrics and art kept out of reach way? Why am I getting guarded when I'm creating? Right? So there's a lot of things where we look at someone like Kendrick Lamar that is bridging a lot of boundaries with. It's like, yo, I really want the realness to my stuff. I'm gonna talk about conscious stuff. I'm gonna give you guys the rap. But the only reason we love him is because he's technically good. Let's start there.
He is
I'm
technically good.
I'm someone that I love to evaluate talent. Like if you bring 10 rappers, I would love to hear them rap, hear the song, and try to, rate them from 1 to 10. And when you want to start looking at metaphors, right? Rap scheme, the type of um um style of the verse. We talked about Kendrick Lamar's beef. Was like, oh, it's all Eminem. But you go listen to Eminem. Can you do that? You can't.
Yep.
So the fact that he's nuts to even attempt, it's crazy. That's the whole point about the situation. He attempted it and he made it original. Go listen to these records. They're not they're not the most popular records ever, but they're so valuable when it comes to content richness. Storytelling is there. He's not just storytelling like he's a freaking teacher. He's rapping this shit to you in double entendres, in the perfect way. He's not stuttering. He's punching well. He's clear. He's precise. His cadences is next to none. Drake has cadence, but Kendrick's cadences is next to none. I'm sorry. And he's the new school. Just imagine.
Yeah. No,
This is not this is not Lil Wayne coming back and doing it now. And we're talking about Lil Wayne. Yeah, I love Lil Wayne. He deserves it because of New Orleans. But let's be clear. I've watched a lot of Lil Wayne's performances over the years. Recently. We'll never get that. We're gonna get nostalgia. We'll get the past feelings, right? We'll get all those songs that made us feel gooey and we love hip hop and why we love Wayne. It's New Orleans. We're gonna get a nice little nostalgia. I get it. But for the genre and for the climate of things when it comes to the popularity and what you just alluded before we started this podcast, it seems like we lost our way a little bit.
Yeah. I feel you there. I will say with the genre and the cadence, Man at the Garden sits there with this cadence that almost reminds me of an 8 Mile moment. And because we get to screaming by the end, and I think that he's almost at the top of his game right here. And we go into track 6, and for me, this is more of a cadence practice.
Yeah, definitely. I think this is going to end up being a 2-part episode. That's a good thing.
No, that would be dope because we're on track 5.
Yeah, we're on track 5.
It's a great episode. It's a great conversation. And I think
agree.
for the culture, it's brilliant because, and you have to understand, this is the reason of this conversation is why Kendrick did that.
Yep.
If Kendrick did everything that my cousin said he should do, it would have been the right way to do it. But then we would say, why don't you just give that to Lil Wayne? We would not be enough. And then he never got a strong point across when it comes to the Black identity in America.
Yeah.
We just witnessed a Super Bowl, a sport that is most African Americans that are technically playing the sport that we are watching. But when we talk about the entertainment and just how we got to this 2025, we see the Black plight and how representation has been an issue. You have even the music. You have a whole hip hop nice hit song, and it's all fair complexion women.
Yeah.
Right? Yep. And you ask yourself, someone even said, when you think about Latino music or Hispanic music, or you think about fair complexion people, until you travel there, it's mixed complexion. Why is that the only represented?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that kind of provoke. It's good to provoke our thought that we're all necessary. We all matter in the representation in this space. You know, because we have kids, we have children that looks up to certain things, imagery, right? We look at the imagery, and a Black child can just look at that imagery like, I can do that. But how many examples of that do they have?
It's truth.
So it's all about equality. It's all about fairness. It's all about being a good neighbor. It's all about saying, hey, man, this is what I believe in. This is the country I'm born in. These are the complexity of people I have. Look at the tape. We have a Hispanic woman opening up with a certain flavor coming from the West Coast, gives you a certain different, it's all of that. So I know on the second episode, we can definitely dive into a lot of all those things, finishing out the album, but it's just a great conversation. And I think he did that to provoke conversations.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
It's a good point.
For sure, yeah. But yeah, a lot more to discuss next time. I'm happy to say I feel this has been the most spontaneous Turntables and Tea discussion ever, and I'm very happy about it because, you know what, it's good to break from the format and get new ideas in there. I really love when that happens, and we might have to do more of it in this year of our Lord 2025.
There you go. There you go.
That's what I'm thinking. So, yes, we will see you all next time to talk about the rest of GNX.
Peace.